Video 2. Continued. So far as some claim that Abraham acquired a portion of the mystic knowledge from Hermes himself. As the years roll by after his passing from the plane of life, traditional recordings that he lived 300 years in the flesh, the Egyptians deified Hermes and made him one of their gods under the name of Thoth. Years after, the people of ancient Greece also made him one of their many gods, calling him Hermes, the god of wisdom. The Egyptians revered his memory for many centuries, yes, tens of centuries, calling him the scribe of the gods, and bestowing upon him distinctively his ancient title, Trismegistus, which means the thrice great, the great great, the greatest great, etc. In all ancient lands, the name of Hermes Trismegistus was revered, the name being synonymous to the fount of wisdom. Even to this day, we use the term hermetic in a sense of secret, sealed, so that nothing can escape, etc. And this is by reason of the fact that the followers of Hermes always observe the principle of secrecy in their teachings. They do not believe in casting pearls before swine, but rather held the teachings milk for babes, meat for strong men, both of which maxims are familiar to readers of the Christian scriptures, but both of which have been used by the Egyptians for centuries before the Christian era. And this policy of careful dissemination of the truth has always characterized Hermeticism. Even unto the present day, the Hermetic teachings are to be found in all lands, among all religions, but never identified with any particular country nor with any particular religious sect. This because of the warnings of the ancient teachers against allowing the secret doctrine to become crystallized into a creed. The wisdom of this caution is apparent to all students of history. The ancient occultism of India and Persia degenerated and is largely lost owing to the fact that the teachers became priests and so mixed theology with the philosophy. The result being that the cultists of the India and Persia have been gradually lost amidst the mass of religious superstitions, cults, creeds, and gods. So it was with ancient Greece and Rome. So was it with the Hermetic teachings of the Gnostics and early Christians, which were lost in the time of Constantine, whose iron hand smothered philosophy with a blanket of theology, losing to the Christian church that which was its very essence and spirit, and causing it to grow throughout several centuries before it was found its way back to the ancient faith. The indications apparent to all careful observers in this 20th century being that the church is now struggling to get back to its ancient mystic teachings. But there were always a few faithful souls who kept alive the flame, tending to it carefully, not allowing this flame to become extinguished. And thanks to these staunch hearts and fearless minds, we have the truth still with us. But it is not found in books to any great extent. It has been passed along from master to student, from initiate to hierophant, from lips to ear. When it was written down at all, its meanings were veiled in the terms of alchemy and astrology, so that those possessing the key could read it aright. This was made necessary in order to avoid persecution of the theologians of the Middle Ages who fought the secret doctrines with the fire and sword, stake, gibbet, and cross. Even to this day, there will be found but few reliable books on the Hermetic philosophy, although there have been countless references to it in many books written on various phases of occultism. And yet, Hermetic philosophy is the only master key which will open all doors of the occult teaching. In the early days, there was a compilation of basic Hermetic doctrines passed on from teacher to student, which is known as the Kybalion. The exact significance and meaning of these terms having been lost for several centuries. This teaching, however, is known to many to whom it has descended from mouth to ear on and on throughout the centuries. Its precepts have never been written down or printed, so far as we know. It is merely a collection of maxims, axioms, and precepts which were non-understandable to outsiders, but which were readily understood by students after the axioms, maxims, and precepts have been explained and exemplified by the Hermetic initiates to the neophytes. These teachings really constitute the basic principles of the art of Hermetic alchemy, which, contrary to the general belief, dealt in the mystery of mental forces rather than the material elements, the transmutation of one mental vibration into other, instead of changing of one kind of metals into another. The legends of the Philosopher's Stone, which would turn the base metal into gold, was an allegory related to Hermetic philosophy, readily understood by all students of true Hermeticism. In this little book of which this is the first lesson, we invite our students to examine into the Hermetic teachings set forth in the Kybalion, and as explained by ourselves, humble students of the teachings, who, while bearing the title of initiates, are still students at the feet of Hermes, the Master. We herein give you any of the maxims, axioms, and precepts of the Kybalion, accompanied by explanations and illustrations which we deem likely to render the teachings more easily comprehended by modern students, particularly by the ancient text, as proposally veiled in obscure terms. The original maxims, axioms, and precepts of the Kybalion are printed herein in italics, the proper credit being given. Our own work is printed in a regular way, and the body of the work, we trust that the many students to whom we now offer this little work will derive as much benefit from the study of its pages as the many who have gone before, treading the same path to mastery throughout the centuries that have passed since the times of Hermes Trismegistus, the master of masters, the great, in the words of the Kybalion. Wherefore the footsteps of the Master, the ears of the ready for his teachings open wide. When the ears of the students are ready to hear, then come up the lips to fill them with wisdom. The Kybalion. So that according to these teachings, this passage of this book to those ready for the instruction will attract the attention of such as are prepared to receive the teachings. And likewise, when the pupil is ready to receive the truth, then will this little book come to him, such as the law, the Hermetic principle of cause and effect in its aspect of the law of attraction will bring lips to ear together, pupil and book in company. So mote it be. Chapter 2, the 7 Hermetic Principles. The principle of truth are 7. He who knows these understandingly possesses the magic key before. The 7 Hermetic Principles, whose touch all the doors of temple fly open. The Kybalion. The 7 Hermetic Principles upon which the entire Hermetic philosophy is based on are as follows. 1. The principle of mentalism. 2. The principle of correspondence. 3. The principle of vibration. 4. The principle of polarity. 5. The principle of rhythm. 6. The principle of cause and effect. 7. The principle of gender. These 7 principles will be discussed and explained as we proceed with these lessons. A short explanation of each, however, may as well be given at this point. 1. The principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. The Kybalion. This in principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is a substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the terms of the material universe, the phenomena of life, matter, energy, and in short, all that is apparent to our material senses, is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable, but which may be considered and thought of as universal, infinite, living mind. It is also explained that all the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all, subject to the laws of created things, and that the universe as a whole, and in its parts or units, has its existence in the mind of the all, in which mind we live and move and have our being. This principle, by establishing the mental nature of the universe, easily explains all the varied mental and psychic phenomena that occupy such a large portion of the public attention, and which, without such explanation, are non-understandable and defy scientific treatment. An understanding of the great Hermetic principle of mentalism enables the individual to readily grasp the laws of the mental universe, and to apply the same to his well-being and advancement. The Hermetic student is enabled to apply intelligently the great mental laws instead of using them in a haphazard manner. With the master key in his possession, the student may unlock the many doors of the mental and psychic temple of knowledge and enter same freely and intelligently. This principle explains the true nature of energy, power, and matter, and how all of these subordinate to the mastery of mind. One of the old Hermetic masters wrote long ago, "He who grasps the truth of mental nature of the universe is well advanced along the path of mastery." The Kybalion.